Call the meeting to order. Join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Matt, Ron,
Here.
Jerry, Justin,
Here.
Lexi, here, Doug is absent.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second,
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Thank you. Carries. Open it up now for citizen comment. Anyone like to address the council right now? Anyone online, Marcy?
Nope.
Nope.
This is participant sponsored.
All right, we'll close the citizen comment section. Consent agenda. Anyone have any questions about the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion for the consent. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to the mayor's monthly report. Hello, everyone. Look at this. The greatest, latest feature for our meetings. Well, I'll start with some big news that was just shared with me before the meeting. If you recall, when we were doing the water project and Steve was here from V&K, and we talked about applying for some SRF funding, and just found out yesterday, that we are going to receive $600,000 for our water project.
And what that'll do is, if you flip over on that second page, it's for the design, engineering, covers all the soft costs.
Administrative, financial and legal expenses, engineering, planning and design, land only after environmental review, archaeological, environmental will all be covered under that 600,000. So very good news there for the city. Also just wanted to let you know, Annette and I have started to make visits with companies over in the industrial park. We met with we had a meeting scheduled with Berry Plastics that they were shorthanded that day, so that got canceled. We've got a couple of other ones lined up right now.
Premier Tooling. And then, of course, back to Byron.
And then back to Byron at Berry. A couple of smaller items that I took care of or worked on this week. Eric Otterman over on Call Bridge had called about a tree that he had called to the two previous mayors. That's actually on the railroad property. Went over and I took some pictures and sent them to the railroad, and they're gonna pass it on to their people and possibly reach back out because half the tree has come down. So he's got a tree that's leaning at about about 70-degree angle. And I mean, if it comes down, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to hit anyone's house, but if somebody was happened to be out there, I mean, they could get hit by the tree. I mean, that's the potential. So, and then I had a discussion with Jeff Birds over at Darkbird. He was asking about prorating food truck permits. And I said, any discussions we've had on food truck permits at this time did not have anything about prorating or having like individual days. He's having trouble with staffing his kitchen. So he's looking at having additional food trucks to what he's already doing. And one of them being a food truck called Versus, and they do not have a permit yet with the city. And they were wondering about possibly getting a prorated. I told him at this time, I didn't think that was going to happen, but I said I would talk to you guys about it, but anything that needs to be decided, just know that that's out there and being asked. And that would about cover anything I had. Anybody got any questions about what I? All right, Then we'll move on and we will not have a Parks and Rec as Stacy is still in London. On to Chief, Police Monthly.
Yeah, you guys have my reports in front of you. If you guys have any questions for me. One thing I'll just add is we did receive the new squad car. The decals go on it, I believe, this week. So if you see it unmarked driving around, that's ours. And if you haven't seen it already, it's pretty sweet. I recommend checking it out. One of the nicest ones we had.
So just before the meeting. Anyone have any other questions for the chief? All right, thanks, chief. Move on, Public Works, monthly report from Dean.
Yep, any questions on that? Comments?
Reach out to me so that you guys touch base and work on a solution or have a solution.
That is ironed out, yep.
Good.
I called up Tri-State and basically told them that they had to repair, damages that were done on somebody else's property. No questions asked.
What about that retention area?
Retention area, I met with Cody Austin with IW Origin and basically told him that he needed to give his description of how that was supposed to work to downstream property owners.
Has it been done?
He sent me an email saying that he was going to schedule a meeting with the downstream property. Update sidewalk up here from Baldine, looking to finish that up by end of the week. There's just a couple pours left, probably 3 more pours, and that'll be finished up. So looking at buttoning that up at the end of the week.
I got a couple of emails saying that looks good. Good project.
Good, yep. Got a lot of compliments, people driving by saying that looks real well, so, yeah.
Got a lot of people walking through it to leave their imprint.
Yep, just about every board got walked through as well. The footprints behind.
When's the next board? I'll get my feedback.
And dog prints and so. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Dean. We'll move on to resolution 2022 approving Thunder Valley Place plat of survey approval. Anyone have any questions? See, Brett and Slavic are here, so. Okay, and then we'll need a motion to approve.
Approve resolution 2022 Thunder Valley Place.
Second.
Lexi, I.
Abstain.
Jerry, aye. Charlie.
Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2022, resolution approving development agreement with CrossVic Development LLC, authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
This agreement has been hanging out there for quite some time. So this brings it to a close. It's 85% over 15 years, not to exceed 1.5 million. And that'll be reimbursed back on the improvements that were made for the infrastructure on the road.
Questions about the development agreement?
Is the agreement done?
It's done.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Your attorney should have sent it to you.
When? Oh, I didn't get it.
Okay.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
For a fee.
We need to wait.
Right?
For $1.5 million.
$1.5 million fee. We'll get you right.
Do you want to wait to have us take no action on it till you read it? It's what we've discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll make a motion for resolution approving development agreement with Creswick Development LLC authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
I'll second. Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Motion carries. Moving on to the approval of development agreement between CrossFit Development and the city of Piasta.
This is just the approval of the actual agreement based on the resolution you just passed.
So we'll need a motion to approve this as well.
Approve the development agreement. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Motion carries.
Jumping this with you for signatures.
Yes, great.
The zoning, we need that signature.
Yep, take care of that as well.
Do you know how long it'll take?
Matt Yon is the computer. He's supposed to drop off some information in the Dropbox, so I can see if he can come in by the end of the week,
Oh,
if that's okay. Thanks. Rubber band too.
Top notch.
I know.
Moving on to Iowa Community.
Can I ask, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
about that easement.
Yes.
So how does this work?
How does it work now?
Well, I don't understand why the people that bought the lots have to sign the easement.
Their name was, they're actually as a title holder, so that's when our city attorney did the research on it, that came up as them being listed as a title holder on the original easement.
They bought that 2 years ago.
But in order to get them off of that and get us as a city on there, they'll have to sign off on that. I mean, is that something we can just discuss right now, if that's okay?
Jump to that.
We jump to E. Approving emergency ingress egress.
Yes. So again, basically is what this is doing is releasing the owner and the two owners of the ownership of that easement and turning that over to the city to move forward.
So who are the owners?
Thunder Valley 2 and Pristine.
So it's a couple of people bought 2 lots for homes, but they have a company, so they bought it through a company instead of personally buy it.
Sure. So we need to get them to sign off on the easement portion of it.
They will sign off on that. Yes, the first document that's out there, the emergency ingress egress, they will sign off on that.
Have you already been in contact with them or no?
I have not. This is what Doug discovered during his title search.
Because the plat was approved. Yeah.
I'm just going by from what our city attorney, what his research that he found, and he found that both the you and Pristine were title holders on that.
It was like easement, like any other easement, like we have in front of the streets, how it works, you probably know a little bit better. So when we developed the Buckeye lines, they needed the easement, basically no building goes in it.
Right.
So it's why we created the easement, it was on the plans and city approved it. I mean, it's not an issue, we will sign it off, but it's kind of.
But that, it's kind of cleans it up and then,
When the city takes over of the phase 2, basically when the city took over 2 years ago, it should be, should be automatic with easements and everything. And we have like easements for 10 feet along the road, it's also easement the city has. And we have other easements like between lots, some easements with that.
Correct.
Same thing, and that is the case, and we have those townhouse and a house, that easement goes between those 2 properties. So why those homeowners don't have to sign off? Questions there.
again, this is the research
So what I
that we
mean-
found.
It is
Right.
normal easement, like everywhere else, like all the way 10 feet, all the way around the road. Every homeowner gonna have to sign off easement to the city.
It's gonna remain an easement.
Yeah, it's gonna remain an easement, yeah.
Biggest question is what are the,
I don't think the city signed off on it in the first place is the problem. The city didn't sign off on that easement. Like, we approved the plat, but we didn't sign off the easement because
I mean,
we didn't know that we were taking care of it, I guess. I guess you guys had talked to Whitney about it and she never brought it to the council. About who was gonna maintain that.
That's why we're here, that's why you guys were here.
That's why the city's gotta sign off on it now.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, I will find out. Contact info for them. I mean, because it should be, it should be some contact info indeed, no?
You should be able to go to the
Yeah.
Secretary of State's website and pull their LLC and find out who their
Yeah.
contact record is.
I mean, if not, I'll ask my realtor, because she was involved in the sale, so she will have information for the owners.
The warranty deed should be out there too. So.
Yeah.
So we'll be taking no action on that this evening.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think,
Okay.
so you need to sign something, and they need to say.
Yep, I'll go out into the search and see what I can find, but,
I'll call my realtor.
right.
Wow.
I'm trusting that our city attorney did the same thing, went out to the Secretary of Iowa's website to, it would have been, yes.
So we'll circle back to Iowa Communities Assurance Proposal Renewal.
I'll give you a call, guys.
Thank you.
Adam, you're up.
thanks, guys.
Good evening, everyone. Before I jump into what I have, any questions at all that you guys were reviewing? Otherwise, I'm gonna go through this and talk through, okay, why did this increase? Where are we at with all that? But any questions so far? And I have, I actually got 3 different versions. I apologize. What happened was cyber's been really hard to get placed. So we finally got something on Thursday, then ICAP had to adjust something, and then we got a different quote, and so kind of got all over the place, but you should have one that, and if not, I can make sure you all have it, and it basically says current, renewal, which includes breach reimbursement, and then one that says no breach reimbursement, okay? And if not, I'll make sure you guys have a copy of this. So basically I'm gonna walk through the ICAP stuff first, and then I saw the cyber stuff's coming up as well, so I'll walk through ICAP first. So property, you see, we went from 41,000 to 47, and we're looking at that, and I thought, okay, we're talking about a 13% increase on property. That's quite a bit for what we're seeing right now. Well, what took place, a couple of things, and my next comment is excluding actual premiums here. But we did add on the sewer treatment plant, and that's to the tune of about $9,500 on top of what we paid from last year on the property, okay? So we're actually comparing current with that sewer plant to renewal with the sewer plant, okay? So apples to apples. Well, what happened was the rate for the property went up 5%, okay? ICAP has taken a stance across the board with all their members. They're tacking on an 8% inflation guard, okay? So obviously rebuild buildings, it costs more money. They're tacking on that 8%. So truly the rate only went up 5%, but they're increasing values by 8%, which then causes the premium to go up that much. Next year, you're talking potentially 10%. Okay, so just be aware that with the inflation where it's trending, they're talking about numbers, okay? So for folks that are in the insurance industry, my biggest thing, I want to know what rate do we have? So we have a 14.7% rate per $100, which is a really good rate for everything that we have here. The complete mix of stuff, right? Where we have this building that's sprinkler, it's gonna be a lot cheaper to insure than, for example, the water treatment plant. Okay. Questions on properties? Yes.
If the wastewater treatment plant was added, Adam, was the lagoon site removed and the operationals of the site?
Do you know what the address of that is?
Sorry, looking at that.
I think yes.
It's 19318 Cap Drive.
Okay. And then I'll look, I think so, but I don't think we had a whole lot there. But for this, I mean, I can keep looking here.
The value that's there versus the value that's at the building, would be apples and oranges, right?
I would assume, I mean, I think all we had, I don't even know if we had coverage for the lagoons, and I'd have to go back. So is it 19318 Cap Drive?
Yes,
Okay, so there, we do have a lift station there, is it still operating?
It is not.
Okay, so we can get that removed, and to give you an idea, that was 35,000, not premium, but values compared to 7, and I can look here, but I can remove that. That was the only thing we had on there. So I can remove that and I can tell you.
There was nothing on the blower building? There was nothing on the blower building?
The blower, yeah, there is one on the blower building. We need to remove that as well. Yes,
What was that valued at?
okay. 186. I can tell you right now what that will reduce our premiums by. So the blower building costs $571 to insure, and the other one is $45 a year. So roughly, give or take, about $610.
we'll take it.
I mean, it helps, we need to get it removed. Was there any other ones that? Okay. So that'll help with the property a little bit, so I'll get those removed. Any other questions on the property at all?
Who established the values? Did we or did ICAP?
So ICAP years ago went through every single one of their members. They hired a third party to go through every single building. And so they set those limits. And we can have conversations with them and say, hey, we think this is what it should be. And those, I mean, we can have that with any insurance company to dispute, hey, we really think this is it. They hired what was called, I think, Building Valley Northwest. And they went through all the buildings.
Is it based off of replacement cost or?
Yeah, replacement cost. Any other questions on the property?
We're geeking out on you guys.
If not, liability, that went up 10%, but that's all budget based. Okay, so as the budget continues to grow, which is a great thing for the city, but unfortunately, you see that on the general liability. Our physical damage loss ratio, loss ratio is, I'm gonna use easy terms, okay, we pay $1,000 in premiums, and if we have $1,000 in losses, we have 100% loss ratio, okay? So they're looking at premiums versus our claims, we had a 286% loss ratio over the last 5 years, okay?
How much of that was the police car?
I'd have to check, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably just 1 or 2 losses.
I mean, was any of it the police vehicle that was totaled?
I believe so, yes, because was that the one that we went over curb or
Yeah.
something happened? Yeah.
Was there any?
That's the same.
That's the same as whatever. Was any of that segregated or able to be segregated?
I don't think I've seen anything being segregated yet, but I can check to see if there is the possibility, because I think we were chasing someone, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we were.
We were.
We were. We were. We weren't.
Your people.
That's right.
Yeah, I can check.
Okay.
Yeah, but that gives you an idea, and truly with auto, even if we didn't have the claims activity there, we're still seeing about 7 to 8, 10% on that, so overall, you know, with the loss ratio, and it had to only go up, about 13%, 14%. Now, I wasn't unhappy with it, but obviously I'd love to deliver a decrease every year. Law enforcement liability, that went up, and that's strictly due to the nature of what we're seeing, unfortunately, with law enforcement, where not that they're doing anything wrong, but the public is seeing that they're doing things wrong, so they're just going after them harder, okay? Public officials, wrongful acts, this has nothing to do with you individuals sitting at the table here, but what also falls under this is like wrongful terminations, sexual harassment, basically called employment practice liability. Our loss ratio for that is 2,461%. Okay, I think you guys are all aware of what has taken place in the last couple of years. again, just one claim can see that drastically, you can see where we're only paying $2,000. So that's why it went up a little bit. And then unfortunately, the liability, auto liability, law enforcement liability, and public official wrongful acts, those all are gonna have what we call an umbrella or excess, okay? Another layer on there, and those all, as premiums go up naturally, then the excess liability premiums go up. Okay?
What level of excess do we have? Do we have 5 million on top of that?
We have,
Look at you go, John.
This is like, I'm in my happy
we have
place.
3 million.
Rolling here.
3 million.
3 million.
So questions on ICAP at all? Most of it came from property, obviously, and all is, most of it came from the stance that they're taking the inflation guard. It's not a bad thing, kind of the way we're back and forth. If it was my choice, I'd probably say, hey, we have a blanket limit. Most likely we're not going to have anything occur, or it's a natural disaster where we're wiping out every single piece of property that we have. We can pull from the blanket limit. Unfortunately, this is just ICAP stance. There is no negotiating at 8%.
Didn't they get, a lot of insurance gonna get burned in the rage really?
Yeah, and everyone is looking at values right now. I don't care if it's ICAP, EMC, you name it, okay, they're all looking at the values. So, questions on ICAP at all? Okay. So pause for.
See if John has any more questions?
No.
All right,
I think we addressed a lot of those values last year, the year before.
good. So. We need a motion to approve.
This is just, we don't really need to do that. This is just a renewal.
Okay. Just had action listed. I didn't want to.
Well, it's a renewal, so that is an action.
Okay, so we don't need to approve the renewal, just rolls through. Perfect. Good questions, right?
Great questions.
Yes, so we'll move on to,
Good answer.
we have Adam Current here to talk to us about the City of Piasta dental renewal. Adam, if you want to go ahead and take the podium.
Yeah, a little easier conversation, dental did go up 3.5%, standard what we're seeing across the board, anywhere from 2 to 7% on dental. It's just inflation, keeping up with the cost of care, naturally the premiums are gonna go up. I personally believe Delta Dental is one of the premier dental providers, in the state of Iowa. They have some of the best discounts for employees, so when they go to the dentist, they're gonna get a better rate per se, more discounted off of their care that they're receiving. And overall, for the dental, $28 for a single and $100 for a family. Again, this is total cost. Okay, this isn't what the employees get, total cost to the city. Overall, for care. Questions at all?
Everyone look at John. Nope, all right. Great, we'll move on. Cyber policy renewal, Adam.
So, a little bit of detail for you folks. Hub has a specialty division that we call MAPS, don't even know all the details, but one of those, within that division, they have a cyber team. Okay, and all they do is play cyber for our companies. Historically, in the last couple of years, I've been telling my members, clients, plan on your cyber premium doubling, if not going up close to 400%. Okay. With the security that your team has decided to do, for example, multiple factor authentication, certain things, and I'll be the first, I'm not an IT expert, but we're working with this in Justin.
Yes.
That you guys have agreed to say, okay, yes, we can put all these things in place, which has helped you guys with your premium. It truly has. So you can see, last year we spent almost $5,000 for a very similar policy with a $25,000 deductible. This year, we found coverage, for $2,850, not $28,000, $2,850 with a $5,000. Okay. I really feel it was a really, really good option for the city that provides us, the solutions for cyber, you know, if we were to have something happen. Okay. There are a little nuances here and there where, as you can look, you can cruise through this. The biggest thing that I see, that's a potential issue, is, you know, if you wanted to scroll, you can, but if not, I can.
You can just tell me what page, I can.
It is, on page 7.
I wasn't sure which document it's here,
You're doing great.
so. Is that 7?
Yep.
Okay.
So social engineering, having I think $100,000 of coverage is still gonna be sufficient, I feel, for the city size. And what social engineering is I pretend that I am Russ and I email Annette and I say, hey, you need to transfer money over to this, right? And I'm not Russ, but I convinced Annette to transfer money into my account that's overseas, we had no idea, and all of a sudden we just lost $50,000, right?
It's gonna happen.
I really think the controls that we have in place, you're small enough that the staff isn't gonna just all of a sudden say, oh, okay, it's only $100,000. The only thing that I was concerned about is we did have, you know, 250,000 compared to now 100,000. But I still feel with all the other coverages and the premium reduction, that we're not losing a whole lot here. Would you guys agree, staff-wise, it'd be really hard to let $100,000 just go all the window?
Is that an aggregate limit or a?
That is, I don't know, I think it's a per claim limit.
And you have to say that won't happen? An insurance brokerage, you think it wouldn't happen to us? It happened twice.
Yeah, I'll give you a story. My previous employer was a bank, and they even had a team of people. This was, you know, 8-10 years ago. Someone on the team that even knew this was going on in California. So it can happen. The biggest advice I can give is pick up the phone and call. Say, hey, Ross, did you really intend for this? Just take that extra step. I promise it'll pay off.
Why am I the bad guy in this example?
That wasn't just this example.
I think I was kind of thrown in there too, so, all right.
But other than that, there's a few other things that actually are a benefit compared to this. I really don't think you're gonna have crypto hacking, you know, telephone fraud, things of that nature, but you could. It's a pretty expensive policy, and I'm happy with it. Questions at all on the cyber?
Nope.
Well, thanks for, again, allowing me to work on the insurance and partnering with us. And as I always say, if you guys have questions, concerns, please never hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to help. And if I don't know the answers, I'll get them. And like, I'm gonna find out for a few of the ones for today. So,
Great, thank you, Adam. Thanks for.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
We will move on to
Safe travels.
Thanks.
resolution approving plat of survey of Thunder Valley Place in the city of Piasta.
This is part of that discussion that we had during the work session. And Brett Crosby was here to talk about what they wanted to do in order to get this recorded so that they can close with the church.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the plat of survey of Thunder Hills Valley Place, City of Piasta. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Carrie, aye. John, aye.
Motion carries. Moving to resolution 2022, resolution of the city of Piasta, Iowa to nominate and appoint an individual alternate to act as liaison between ICAP and the member.
This is just to swap out Karen's name and make sure that Mercy's on there as well. So just how it's housekeeping.
Make a motion to approve resolution of the City of Piasta, Iowa to nominate and appoint an individual and alternate to act as liaison between ICAP and the member.
I'll second it.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carrie, aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2022, resolution approving the 2021-22 fiscal year street finance report.
This is an annual report that we have to do to be compliant with the state of Iowa.
I don't have any questions on the report?
Make a motion resolution approving the 2021 to 22 fiscal year street finance report.
I'll second it.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Jerry, aye. John, aye.
Motion carries. Resolution setting commercial building permit fees.
We had a discussion at the work session, so I put this out there for you to take a look at. You don't have to take action on it tonight. However, I wanted to let you know that the research that I found and that only one of the cities that I reached out to does have the commercial code adopted, and they do have a fee schedule in place, and that's Manchester.
What does that look like?
It's
A sliding scale, but I mean, it's based on
valuation
valuation of the
And
price.
square feet.
and square feet according to their spreadsheet.
I was playing with that today. I couldn't figure out exactly what weighed more, the valuation. I would be more apt to be going towards maybe a sliding scale type thing. Exactly what that looks like, I don't know.
Sliding scale on square footage or valuation.
I'm just thinking that, and maybe I'm wrong when I say this, but if you build a smaller building, you're gonna have some of the basic costs for us to review. You go bigger, you're gonna still have those same, but it's gonna be a lot of redundancy, I think. maybe.
What's gonna be more of a review? It's kind of like the scenario that I put in the administrative notes where Craig had commented that typically on a residential, he spends about 9 hours for the review and the inspections. And he says when you're looking at a commercial development, and again, he thinks it'll triple in time because of the review. So therefore, there's a lot more time invested in the commercial review versus the residential.
I'm just thinking sliding scale, you're buying in bulk, so to speak.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there. I
Well,
don't know.
and that can be, buying in bulk could be the valuation.
Right.
Or buying in bulk could be the square footage.
It's just something not based strictly on square footage.
X amount of dollars per square footage. I mean, that.
Well, that's kind of what I have out there is 12 cents per square foot.
Right.
Right, but I'm saying, okay, that's, and again, I'm just thinking that that's up to X amount of square feet, and then you get past that in the next, I don't know, 10,000 square feet or at 10 cents a square.
So that way you'd have a minimum. I mean,
Right,
you know,
and again, you're buying in bulk, right?
if you built a 4,000 square foot building and a 10,000, and that's our cutoff, those two are gonna pay the same. So you're not losing anything by the 4,000,
So it's like 1,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet.
something like
And
that.
I don't know if those are the right numbers, I'm just.
Okay, I can play around with it.
Yeah. Let's see what that looks like, kind of close to maybe what the 12 cents a square foot, maybe just to kind of,
Sure.
so we can see how that plays out.
Okay.
All right,
And I'll bring that back to the work session.
work session in November.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on then. No action taken. Resolution approving proposed annexation and directing city administrator to proceed with annexation process parcels 14113000003 and 14113000004 owned by B&C LLC.
What this resolution does is just gives me permission to move forward with the next steps that Doug has outlined for the annexation process. And we have one of the property owners in the audience tonight, Corey, who's awake.
He's just reading.
Yeah.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to approve the proposed annexation and directing city administrator to proceed with the annexation process. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, aye.
Motion carries. Moving Resolution approving proposed annexation and directing city administrator to proceed with annexation process parcels et al. 4, et al. 5, owned by Fabco LLC. So same thing here.
I'll make a motion approving resolution annexation directing city administrator to proceed. I'll second.
Lexi.
Justin, I.
Motion carries. Moving on, Piasta Economic Development Corporation funding request. Was somebody going to be here?
I asked them to be here.
Okay.
But I think that they want me to represent them, and I'm really not in that position to do that. I'm more of an advisory role than on their board of directors. However, what they're looking for is $5,000 out of the commitment that the city made in 2020 through an urban renewal plan to give them up to not to exceed 50,000. They'll be using that $5,000 to go toward attorney fees to get everything else that they need in place. They asked if our city attorney would be able to do that, and I said absolutely not, because they wanted us to pay for it, the city. And Doug just doesn't have the time to do something like this. He's very, very busy with not only us, but multiple other communities. So that is, again, the reason for the request, so that they can get the funds, they can get the attorney and the proper legal advice.
When we set that $50,000 aside, this was part of the reason for it, right?
Yes, and the urban renewal plan, it actually says they can basically use it for any use that they would see fit, as long as it's approved by city council. And I think that this is a justifiable request. My only concern is 5,000 going to be enough? I did make a recommendation for 15, but they wanted to keep it at 5. So you may be seeing them come back in 5 months for another request.
Make a motion to approve economic development funding request.
I'll second it.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Motion to accept Councilman Doug Hughes' resignation.
Accept his resignation.
I'll second it.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Motion carries. Moving us to motion to proceed with appointment or hold a special election to fill the council vacancy. If anyone hasn't looked at the chart that is provided here, please do so now, because it's going to be December, but it would actually be February 14th before we could have a special election.
And the reason Jenny Hillary gave was that for some reason the Thanksgiving holiday kind of messes up the timeline and pushes it into Christmas. So I don't know what the justification is for.
You wouldn't have anybody
February.
on March.
Till March, right, Justin? Or we still have the option for discussion.
The longer we wait on this, the longer that it's gonna push it down the line, right?
I
If
think
you don't tell her that we're gonna do it right now, then it's gonna just keep rolling downhill.
I think my biggest fear too is that as we continue to have meetings, we're really gonna have to have you all here, because if we do have development agreements, there's requirements in there that's more than 3/4 of you all being here. So it really, it's pretty risky, especially with everything that's going on right now.
We have at least one person interested in,
The quorum doesn't change just because you have one less person.
But-
And even if you have a quorum, sometimes it's not a majority vote, it's the 3/4 vote for certain things, so. I mean, it's all four.
So if we would go, I mean, we've traditionally went with an election. Personally, I think that's the way it should go, but I also understand what you're saying. I can appreciate that. How, if we were to go with an appointment, would we just make an appointment? Would we ask for who's interested? What's the procedure?
You can ask, you can make the appointment, and then the public has the right to protest. So they can take up a petition, come in and say, you have to have a special election.
I think he's under more of the lines of like the planning and zoning board stuff. Can we go out there and ask what applicants we get back and then weed them out? That's kind of what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking, even not even just the current committees and boards that we have, just in general. Who's showing an interest?
But we have 60 days to do that.
I mean, I
Can
personally.
we start them both
Like when we.
timeline? Can we tell her that,
Put it out on.
well, maybe start the election process, but we're gonna look at appointing somebody?
Yeah, we could actually appoint somebody with a caveat of saying that that appointment will also be on the ballot for the special election. You could do it that way.
I think we're gonna appoint, let's just appoint,
Yeah,
and then let the chips fall where they may.
I was just
Okay.
wondering.
I firmly, with my whole heart, believe we should have an election.
So how many meetings are we actually missing here then? 4,
Um,
5,
It'll be March. Yeah,
December.
2 per
November, December,
and then 1.
January,
We'd have
February.
2 November.
7. Right? 1 December.
We have one more this month. So we have 1, 2 is 3, 4.
But you're saying how many are missing from appointment to appointment?
If not 9.
9,
8 with
Eight,
the rest of.
8, and not work sessions and stuff, but 8 actual council meetings. Short.
Didn't we, wasn't someone appointed at one time and it didn't?
It ended poorly.
I think we should have an election.
I did too, but just from that experience, I get that. It's a delay.
My concern is just pushing stuff down the road that we can't vote on or don't get a quorum vote because somebody's not here. Or somebody has to abstain from something.
But does that concern that I'm asking, does that concern overweigh us making a decision versus the people making a decision?
I
And
fully believe that you've been elected to make those decisions.
What's our workload look like? I mean,
It's gonna be a lot.
no, between, let's say, February,
Just the first part of the year will be budgetary.
I say, when is the budget start with?
but there'd be no abstentions for budgetary, right? So it's just anything to do with property or something like that. And we've kind of gotten that all taken care of, right? For the most part. I'm just trying to think.
As long as we're all here.
Yeah,
Right.
And I will most likely miss a couple in January.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, or in the winter.
And that will happen.
And holidays nobody knows probably what's gonna happen over the holidays. I mean, I believe in both. I believe in both systems. I think they both have their merits and their values. I just think the position we're in is better to move forward with somebody than delay it. Especially heading into working on the budget to have another voice, another person in here. It's going to be, I think, valuable. How will we put it out there as far as that we're going to appoint? Do we just do that, or do we want to open it up and solicit people who may be interested?
I think you open it up and solicit it and just see what you got and see where they fall. Just like we would have done with the zoning board vacancies or anything else. I think you got a list of them people. Them people are probably gonna be the same people that vote. Or not vote, but
So if we open it for 60 days,
voted
is
on.
that what?
Open it for 60 days, but now we're at the end of the year. I mean, at that point, I must have an election. We're gonna open for 60 days.
And what would be the time to have it open? Because the planning and zoning was 60 days, wasn't it?
90.
90 days before we.
But that's based on a gender law. That's not based on an election law.
Would that not apply to this?
we can't ask her to go start it in November. It's got to start in December.
What she gave me, it has to start, you've got the 60 days to either, right.
What's your deadline to appoint?
Mhm.
So what if we waive the deadline to appoint? What if we say we don't want to have an appointment?
Then we march forward having a special election.
But does that speed up the timeline?
No, I think that's where she's saying the 60 days is because you got that holiday in there. Now it puts you in December. Where if you didn't have Thanksgiving in there, you would probably be.
Yeah, if we didn't have a holiday or two to deal with, we can get this done quicker.
Because they're government holiday. Got Veterans Day.
Yeah, but we're in October yet. So
It's time for time.
this is showing from Friday, December 2nd, 60 days.
It's 60 days back. You have 60 days from there.
Brings you to the special election.
Second. And then 25 days from there would bring you to the candidate.
60 days to the election.
But it was 60
Right.
days from,
Yeah, that's 60 days.
60 days from his resignation. Appoint somebody.
Well, no, but if
60 days takes you to December 2nd.
Gotcha.
I think they're asking, can we waive the 60 days and just start the 25-day
Can
fine?
we just start the process now?
To do the special election,
Yeah,
I don't believe so.
So we gotta wait 60 days.
so that's 2 months.
Well, then, yeah, because once you open it up, then you have the filing, obviously. to do that.
I say we go ahead and go with an election.
You don't have to wait 60 days to appoint someone.
Right.
Appoint anytime. You just have to.
But yeah, but if we wanted to open up the window, we would need time for somebody to show interest, and then we'd have to have time to meet with them and.
And then you run the risk of having nobody run.
unfortunately, we've had a history of this. And this is kind of the course we've always taken is have had an election. And I know we've got a lot of stuff going on. I don't see how we should waver from what we've done the last
Straw poll,
four,
straw poll. What do you say, John?
about,
Jerry? Justin?
Election.
Done.
We need a motion.
Need a motion?
That wasn't it.
I thought I did a pretty good job. Straw poll.
Proceed with a special election to fill the vacancy.
second,
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Carries. Open it up again for citizen comment. I mean, besides among yourselves. Need a motion to
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.